On behalf of everyone whose story could only be written in the greatest nation on earth, I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America.
And with
who nominated you?
that, Vice President Kamala Harris has officially accepted the Democratic nomination for President of the United States. In a 40-minute speech delivered on the final night of the DNC, Harris shared her vision for America's future, along with a few words of wisdom from her mother.
She taught us to never complain about injustice, but do something about it. Do something about it.
Those are such encouraging words from a vice president who is now running for president, who is identifying as black, pretty much identifying as black. I mean, we do understand that her dad is Jamaican and her mom is East Asian or South Asian. I understand all that, but she is coming off with the black talk and some of the vibe and the college. She's doing a little bit of a Barack on us. A lot of us are getting angry and upset about it instead of really paying attention as to who nominated her. Who nominated her?
She also taught us, and never do anything half-assed. And that is a direct quote.
And she took a few not-so-subtle jabs at her Republican challenger, former President Donald Trump.
I will not cozy up to tyrants and dictators like Kim Jong-un who are rooting for Trump.
They might be, because the Democrats are war hawks. Well, hell, the Republicans are too. But they might have a better chance of peace with Donald Trump because he is going to interject his thought into the conversation as opposed to listening to people like Anthony Blinken, who's already served under Biden, and she'll just continue him. She ain't going to change much in the defense of the country, offense of the country. And so that kind of stuff that she's talking right now is another Trump scare tactic. And that's what turns me off the most, because in my entire life, whenever I see someone trying to scare you, that's an intentional act of steering you in a particular direction. Why? Why are you trying to steer us, or what are you trying to distract us from? As black people, we already know every election, no matter who the president is, going forward, we need to just start changing lanes. We need to go and talk to Republicans, and we need to talk to the Democrats, because what we've been doing ain't working. And if it continues like this, and we realize that we really can't make any kind of gains within this system that is so heavily stacked against us, then let's just give up and pull ourselves out of this government and be dealt with as some kind of a different entity, because if they are constantly going to use their democracy to crush us and to keep us down and to make the wealth gap bigger than it already is, not giving. I mean, no group of people deserve to own businesses at the bottom. You know, everything at the bottom. You know, when we do well, we go to the top, but it's just one of us. You get up there, you're going to have coffee with a whole bunch of other people that don't look like you, because we can't all be let through that gate for some reason, and she's part of that. And she needs to open it up and let it out, and not have orchestrated Democratic national conventions where black people are getting on the mic and afraid to speak on behalf of their own self. That doesn't make no sense. None at all.
They know he is easy to manipulate with flattery and favors. They know Trump won't hold autocrats accountable because he wants to be an autocrat himself.
It's all that speech that she's saying and weaving her way through is to get at the fact that Putin is invading Ukraine, and Ukraine needs our resources, weapons and money, and that comes from taxpayers. So if we support her, we support that, because that's what she supports. And she should have been at the convention a little more candid about that kind of stuff, instead of little innuendos like that in the end of a speech or whatever. Just come out and say it. We're going to stand with Ukraine. We're going to stand with Israel. We're going to stand with whoever we're going to stand with. They need to break it down so we know what we're voting for. But that wouldn't be wise, because a lot of times we vote for things that we don't really agree with. But because they don't put it on the front of the platform or yell it, or don't put a platform up at all, if she wins the presidency, which is pretty unlikely, but if she wins the presidency without putting up agenda, platform, where the hell you plan on taking us other than all these really nice empty words, then why would anyone in their right mind vote for that? Because then if we're in a World War III in 3 months after we vote her in, you can't even be mad. And the beginning of a presidency is when all kind of stuff be breaking loose. And I'm a bit disappointed in us as voters for being as ignorant as we are collectively. We're letting them just run circles around us. Have people who already have millions and millions and millions of dollars in the bank letting Kamala and the Democrats know it's okay for the rest of them to be poor. They should pull themselves up by the bootstraps like I did, and shake that discrimination and racism off like I did. If that's the way our rich black people are doing us, if that's the way our celebrities and athletes are doing us, they feel like they're taking the benefit of the culture and the benefit of the wealth and the money, but they have to behave. They cannot speak out of turn. They cannot disagree. And Kamala Harris is another one of them, and we're in a lot of trouble with her if she is to win. But just for her being in the position she's in the Democratic Party lets me know that she's willing to do whatever they say, because she would not have risen as high and as fast and as unopposed if there wasn't some people behind pulling the strings who really like her. They see something in that one.
Harris proclaimed that we are in, quote, a fight for America's future. And yes, she called her opponent unserious.
And we're always in a fight for our future as black people. And I'm sure any Latino or any Asian or any white person could say the exact same thing. We're in a fight. And when I think of fighting, I grew up fighting for civil rights. I grew up thinking in that, along those terms, and not what she's talking about. She's taking all of our civil rights terminology and pouring it into her little movement, and this movement ain't moving.
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man. But the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious.
Yeah, but he's not a serious man. But don't put him back in that White House. What is going on? These are two candidates who couldn't be any closer in the polls within the margin of error. Both of them. I mean, it's depending on who you listen to. If you're a Trump supporter and you want to hear how well he's doing, turn to Trump channels and they'll weave a way for him to be up or for her to be up, but it's false or it's inflated by something. The polls are that close, and all she's trying to do is scare us all about this man, how terrible he is, and his felonies and his impeachments and his everything he's ever done, what he cheats on his wives, everything. And she's just bringing it out, and he's just making him the worst person in the world. And then you're neck and neck with him in the polls, which means we need to look into you a little more. Why is a squeaky clean person who doesn't have 34 felonies, who wasn't ever the president, so we can just say what we can say a vice president is supposed to do? Did you fulfill that role? If you did, okay, I don't know. That border's questionable. But you're polling too close to this guy for you to be breathing all the I think it would be a good idea right now for the Democrats, whoever's back there calling those shots, to shut it down and on the attacks on Trump, and let's start building up Kamala, and let's talk about her record as a vice president, and let's talk about if she plans on continuing down the path I like to call the rabbit hole that Biden started, or would we like to see what her plan is? That's what we all need to know. We need to know what direction. Some of us people in the Democratic Party aren't too happy about, and I still refer to myself as a Democrat, and I am an independent. I changed all that, and I text people now talking politics, and I see that I've texted some people that I haven't texted since 2019, and my last text to some of these people, where I was having dialogue with them, I was saying things like, I don't know about that Kamala, she ain't one of us. I was saying that back then because I felt that, because I live in California, and we had the wonderful privilege of having her as our attorney general, and separating us from our loved ones for bullshit. So yeah, she ain't the best. I got personal reasons for not liking her, but I think all of you should dig a little deeper, because if a guy is terrible as Trump, and he is terrible, he's bad, but he's pulling that close to her, they don't like Trump because he don't think right. He does things out of order. But if you continue to do things in order, for us, as far as collectively as black people, what are we going to get? We got nothing coming for being good. What does Oprah really get? What does she get? She got nothing to lose. She can shut herself off with the money she has for the rest of her life and not need anything from anybody anyway. And she's still up there selling us down the road. It makes no sense why they do it. D.L. Hughley, what is your reason? What do you get from this? What do they give you? Do you feel good feeling like a black leader, but you're not? You're leading them astray? That's not leadership. What are you guys trying to do? It's kind of scary to think that being around white people, especially powerful white people, makes you feel important if you can sell your folks off. It's pretty bad.
Harris also promised to sign into law a bill to restore reproductive freedom, which she says is in stark contrast to what Trump and his allies are planning.
And that's what Obama could have done. Or any other president after Roe v. Wade went into effect that was a Democrat. But they want to play this game, and the country is going to have Roe v. Wade for all these decades, and there's just no way it's going back. And then here comes one Republican president out of a 16-year period. One of those 4 years was occupied by a Republican, and look at the damage he did. He went in there, and I call it damage because I'm not a Republican, but he went in there and changed the Supreme Court legally. He didn't break no rules. He didn't change no rules, with the rules as they were. And then the Democrats start crying foul. We need to add more people, or we need to make term limits. I mean, if you're losing, you can't do that. I mean, I know you want to, but then when black people come to you as the party that we only deal with, because I can't even complain about the Republicans, we don't deal with them. Look what we're getting from you, the party that's supposed to love us. We don't even get our own little segment at the DNC where you, other than you letting Oprah and those people talk about civil rights issues, but nothing in the language of addressing it. It's just a way to get that crowd going. Yeah. And they beat us, and everybody be like, oh, they get so upset, and then you turn them loose on abortion rights or something else. And you guys got to stop. Abortion rights has a significant amount of people who support it, and whip them up on that. Whip them up on abortion stories. Don't whip them up on no civil rights stories with civil rights language and then take them into that stuff. That's just so disingenuous. And Kamala, your days are numbered. Everybody is figuring you out. I think more and more people are hearing so many of their friends talk bad about you. They're like, what is wrong with these people? oh, they just hating on her. And then when you start realizing, that there were times when you would, during interviews, say things that you wish you could take back. You really wish you could take back. And I'll tag at the end of this video a video that she would not like you to see, because it's playing more now than it's ever played, and there's still folks out there who ain't seen it. So I'll do my part.
He plans to create a national anti-abortion coordinator and force states to report on women's miscarriages and abortions.
I don't know what you call the guy or the head of the office that she just referred to, but that sounds like good common sense. Every time a woman has a miscarriage or an abortion, it should be investigated and then documented. I mean, people could be trying to have abortions at home or whatever, and the evidence or an investigation might show that. But you cannot not track medical evidence. It sounds crazy. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. We should know how many children are dying in this country, be it by abortion or car wrecks or whatever. But there is no way you're going to make us shame us and, oh no, what is he thinking? We need to track lives and deaths in the country. And you hear them booing. People, you can get up in front of a crowd and you can make them listen to this. That just doesn't even make sense. If somebody got up there after her and said, whoa, wait a minute, and said the opposite of what she said, and then some logic would kick in with some of them. Some of them are gone. Some of them are gone. But logic would kick in when some people be like, wow, what were we thinking? Just let women have miscarriages and abortion. That means your husband could basically get rid of the kid however he sees fit, and there's no tracking of it. Weren't you just pregnant? Hey, nobody tracks that stuff. Don't worry about this. This is the president elect. Or oh my God! Oh, please let me not jinx us. This is the candidate for the Democrats.
Simply put, they are out of their minds.
Harris also vowed to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. And
don't we have enough voting rights acts? That means, now that right there, that little part, look at her hand over her heart. She's just doing that for us. Because voting rights is the biggest problem that black people have. They don't really need too much money or houses to live in. They just need to make sure we can vote right. That's all. The voting rights, they need to let it go. It's so played out and old, and it's so obvious. When they talk about voting rights, they're talking about us. When they talk about loving who you want, they're talking about LGBT. I mean, it's just these little words, and it just gets so old because it's so stupid. It don't make no damn sense at all. None. She's trying to kind of ride in on that wave that Obama, she has no idea. It ain't gonna make it to the beach.
Bring back the bipartisan border security bill. Here's what she had to say about the war in Gaza.
President Biden and I are working around the clock because now is the time to get a hostage deal and a ceasefire deal done.
No, it ain't. No, it ain't. You guys ain't gonna get no ceasefire deal done. You guys are over there making this happen. You guys are giving Israel weapons of war, not peace. You're not over there, but the negotiations, you guys are over there listening to Israel. We need to get involved because we could prevent a world war. We could prevent Israel from, right now, all it takes is a miscalculation, a misstep, or a miscommunication. I'm just saying, and this is what we dealing with. She has no idea. She's probably sitting in that war room when they talking that war talk and like, damn. And all she got to do is play along with it and be complicit, and she'll be able to keep coming back to those meetings and sit there, but she ain't calling no shots. We ain't gonna have a black president until you have a black president who is able to implement their black policies and their black ideas and help their black people. Other than that, you don't have a black president. What good is a black president because he looked like you, but he's doing everything against you like they all did. All the other presidents that preceded him. Every one of them. And here's another one. She's going to do no different. and black people getting whipped up into a frenzy because somebody looks like you, it just gives them more ammunition when they say, see, we're all equal now. We've had a man black, a woman black. You guys ought to be taken care of now. And these conventions will be more and more like this, where they're going to just wave you into the tent to get your vote, and they're going to take your vote. And because she got nominated by some powerful force, and I'd like to know what it is, because we should know what it is, because it wasn't us. They need us to vote her in, to put the icing on top of the cake. But what got her that nomination? And it seems traditional, like, hey, yeah, if the president drops out, yeah, the VP takes over. I agree with that. But what I don't agree with is when the president is feeble and old and stumbling all over himself and his words and falling and no. And you knew when he came into office, there were signs. And then you let it go all the way to the end, and here we are just months away, and then he drops out. There should have been another process, and this shouldn't have been it. We're going to have a problem with our Kamala. Ain't going to work. That was good. I liked it. I like the story, but what I do like is just to hear the highlights of her speech, because you hear her whole speech, just a bunch of nothing. It's like a big old nothing burger. What is she doing? Just going on and on and on about nothing and telling us what she's going to do. And like you can just wave a magic wand. You are the current administration. You should have more to show for. You should not be gaslighting us, moonlighting us, or whatever kind of lighting you're doing. You need to knock it off. And that's the end of this one, folks. Black Popcorn. We'll talk to you on the next one. Bye-bye.